Hey, everybody, welcome to Backer Pause. I'm pretty excited. We are back. It is June. Summer has sort of kind of begun, but we're not really there yet. We'll figure it out. But it is definitely hot outside and might as well take a dip. See what I did there, Kevin?
I
We're going
like
to
it. I like it.
be we're going to be talking to Kevin Joseph today. We're going to be doing all the cool stuff, talking about Tart, and we're about to go live on TikTok. I'm going to let Kevin introduce himself. Go ahead, Kevin. Tell him who you are.
My name is Kevin Joseph. I'm a writer of a comic book called Tart, and that's a time-traveling demon hunter series. The image you just saw was for our Submerged arc, where they go to the world's most haunted waterway, and for a training mission. And of course, because it's comics, insanity and villains ensue.
Plus, you do a show.
We got sharks, we've got mermaids, we've got Truck Lagoon. If you look it up, it's TRUK Lagoon. They have these amazing pictures, and they talk about these phantom drummings and ghost lights. So the actual place is considered haunted. And so we thought, well, if we have time travelers there, what could possibly be haunting it? So we did some crazy make-em-ups, but I would check out the ghost fleet of Truck Lagoon just on your own, because it's incredibly interesting, even if you don't put our time traveling demon hunters or make use of the sharks that do swim around with the scuba divers.
And don't you have that Friday night cool show that I want to say it's weekly?
Yeah, every Friday night, Will Allred and I kind of bring people who are running Kickstarter campaigns. You were on it for Cat Dad and Super Mom, and we just bring people who have live campaigns on to talk about it, talk about crowdfunding, talk about where the books came from. And Will and I started it when we had campaigns live, and we enjoyed doing it enough that we just decided to continue. So whether we have a campaign live or not, we do it every Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, if you're in early from a I would say not a hot date, because if you're in here early from a hot date, do not watch our show. You can get it on the replay. But if you're in early from a date that wasn't so hot, come join us on Facebook or YouTube.
And it's a great show, and always can watch it in reruns. It's on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. My channel is BEANOKJ. Don't ask why. It's a long story without a good ending, but you can also get it on your podcast apps. The Geek Collective figured out a way for us to do it on podcasts. So if you have Stitcher or Apple Podcasts, just look up "Explain Yourself" and you can listen while you're driving or doing dishes.
And it is really a cool show, and we need more crowdfunding shows, to be honest. I was glad to see you guys doing one. And here we are. This is your actual campaign. For those who don't know, I've been a fan of Kevin before he even did this. I still want him to go back to that monkey. I love that monkey. But we're here to talk about Tart.
Hey, I'll talk underwears whenever you want. I love that too. It's just completely different. It's there's no my name is the only thing that is the same between underwears and Tart.
That's a great, trust me, it is underwear that makes a monkey more interesting. And I'll leave it at that. We're going to talk about Tart today. Tart's been going on for a long time. Distributed now through Scout Comics, as well as Kevin and his Kickstarters. Tell us about the journey of this, and then we're going to watch the video, and we're going to talk more about it as we break up and explain what BACKERPAUSE is. So go for it.
Well, the journey to Scout or the journey to Tart being
Let's just talk about Tart.
Okay.
I think going to Scout, like, it's pretty obvious that you had such popularity. It was just a smart move for Scout.
I appreciate that they made the smart move, if that's what it was. So I'm still appreciative of the move, however it happened. Tart is destined, and that is a grandiose thing to say. But when I tell you this, the artist Ludovic Salé is a Frenchman living in France. I'm an American living in America. We both separately met the same French woman who was living in England. And she introduced us because she thought the way that we looked at stories, she thought would match. So there is no way that I could ever have a country boy from France artist and a city boy from America writer get together and create this book if we hadn't met the same woman in England. So like if that's fate, destiny, a higher power, or the greatest dumb luck in the history of the world. I don't know which it is, but it's something.
I know, it's awesome. So tell us about the story.
So Tart is a mystery about a woman who is sent to random times and places. She never knows when or where in the world. That is my dog telling us that it's time to back Tart. And so as every time he backs, someone has to back Tart. No, he's going to go off for a little bit. But basically, she's a time-traveling demon hunter. She wakes up without any idea where she is or when she is. You know what? What do you know about it? I'm going to mute myself for a minute because he's going to go do this for 2 minutes.
Yeah. And let me tell you, this was one of those things that instantly hit me. Because the art is just, it speaks for itself. Like, art tells the story, but then when you read it and realize that there's so much complexity in this story, and you don't realize, a lot of comic books are afraid to get deep into things. You're not. You're okay with that, just changing the where we are. It's almost like Quantum Leap in my mind. I don't know if everyone's made that reference to you, but it feels like this Quantum Leap. You go to these different, I mean, we're underwater for this one. I mean, that's so awesome. And I have, like, I'm not kidding, I went to Scout. I'm going to get this one. I think I already backed it. And if I didn't, it's just because I haven't been around as much. But before the oldies campaigns end, trust me, I'm going to be getting this. I can't say enough good things about it. And I don't want to give too much away because I want new people to be involved in it. Because you're one of those stories, the less you know going in, the better. 2 thumbs up from people, get involved in it, and you're going to just, it's one of those books you can just sit and look at and on a rainy day and just enjoy the world. Because you have that moment to just see the art. It comes jumping off the page. And like you said, it was a marriage of a good writer, a good artist, and I think together you guys did something that was fantastic, great, and you have just the fans get so excited about it. I know I'm excited when it comes on. You know that. I saw it and I was like, look, I'm on. I just got back from MegCon. My back was all screwed up and I was getting sick, and I still reached out to Kevin. I'm like, look, I'm real sick right now, but I want to get this on the show. When are you available? I was like, eventually I'm going to heal.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the really nice words. I'm going to say an average writer and a great artist, and we'll leave it at that. But I think the book is great. I'll be really braggadocious about the book, but the writing, I have moments where I do okay, and Ludo fixes the times when I don't do so great.
Hey, I read the monkey thing. You're a great writer. To me, you're always going to be a great writer. I said good because I don't want to be fanboying right now. But you are honestly one of the few people I think that is a really good writer, and I look to and have always respected in the industry. Good work ethic, great storytelling, and this is something you're all going to enjoy. Let's take a look at that video you made and see what's going on with Tart as soon as I can.
Yeah, the tough thing about the videos is you always do it at the end when you're tired, and then that's when you put yourself on camera. So let's forgive the model that we hired for this video and just look at the pretty pictures from the book.
All right, well, let's check it out. No pause because he's the guest judge.
Aggressive, possessive, put me on a pedestal and watch me suck your ego dry. The heartbreaks and the headaches will drive you to an early grave and make nobody cry. I already know that you're not having fun, but I can't let it go until the job is done.
Hi, my name is Kevin Joseph. I'm the writer and co-creator of the time-traveling Demon Hunter series, Tart. Now, I'm not very stylish or elegant. Luckily, my co-creator and artist Ludovic Salé is. And because of how elegant and stylish she is, our book is elegant and stylish. And I'm going to say it, it's kind of classy. So, I decided maybe I'd try a little harder for this video. When we first had a chance to collect the Adrift volume, we had the opportunity to print an incredibly gorgeous showcase hardcover of the material. Now, we've long waited to match the beauty of the craftwork of this with every arc of our series, And we think now is the perfect time to do so for our second arc, Submerged. We are returning to Kickstarter to raise funds to print a pristine hardcover edition of the story that pits Tart Acid against 3 murderous merpeople deep into the world's most haunted waterway, Truck Lagoon. We are doing so with an eye to matching the Adrift hardcover as closely as possible. Another breathtaking dust jacket cover, luxurious foil stamp logo on a traditional feel of a library book, built to the exact specifications so that they match on your bookcase. Your support on this campaign will not just help us print a book, it will be the foundation of an entire set of hardcovers. Now, if you missed out on the first Adrift hardcover, you can get your copy in this campaign with your copy of Submerged. Don't wait. The initial hardcover printing of Adrift was only 1,500 copies, and we will not be going back to print on those. What that means is this hardcover series is limited to 1,500 people at the absolute peak. When we run out, eBay will be your only chance to get these. Now, look down the page, please find the tier that works for you, and kickstart my Tart.
Now, I'm not going to brag, but I do own one of those.
That is worth bragging for. It feels like I shot and edited that video 3 years ago. It's so crazy to be in a Kickstarter campaign, like about 2.5 weeks in. That feels like it happened before the pandemic. I cannot tell you how weird that is. The song came on and I was like, oh yeah, we got to use the song from, there's a band called Tart out of Detroit that I ran across when I was looking for a cover image of one of our books. And this album was on it and it looked cool. And I listened to them and I reached out. I said, can I use one of your songs for our videos? And yeah, so there's a real band called Tart. They kick complete and total ass. So find them if you like a little bit of a Foo Fighter sound with a badass female vocal lead.
And I haven't even opened this, guys. This is something that is in my collection. I had to dig this out knowing that we were going to be doing this. This is something I cherish. It is beautiful. You're not going to see. Let me try put myself up big on screen for a very rare time when I do this. There we go. Check this out. This is a beautiful, beautiful book. It is just you don't see it right on the screen right now. I'll tell you that. It looks so much like just prettier and nicer, and it's good quality. Like this is what you want on your collection shelf.
Yeah, it is a showcase hardcover. It was created by a printing company who wanted to show off what they could do for other creators. So there's bells and whistles on it that I would have never thought to do. And now we're matching with this hardcover now. So it's kind of better than I would have thought to do it on my own, which is great. Which is kind of, the story of Tart.
And Steph Wilson's showing some love. Said just here for the mega celebrity host.
Absolutely.
I understand, Steph. I would show up too for this one. I actually watch his Kevin's show usually the next day because Friday night's not that I'm like that popular. I'm just asleep because I'm old and lame.
You know what? We understand. The Miskatonic High writer Mike Shea is like a great dude, really nice. I've stopped inviting him. He's like, I'm asleep at like 9:30, man. I can't do it.
I got old. My back clicks more than the TV does now. So we're going to go on to see the rest of the BACKERPAUSE I'm going to explain. But throughout this, in between the campaigns, I'm going to ask you some stuff about Tart because this is definitely our focus for right now. And this will be the crowdfunder of the week when we do our forecast and all that. So
that's awesome. But I can't wait to see what the other videos, because I've been into the other campaigns going on, but you always miss some. So I'm excited to see some I haven't checked out.
All right. So this is BACKERPAUSE. How this works this year, I'm just going to mute myself for 1 second so I can cough. This year, it's going to work a little differently than it's worked in the past. We are now introducing everything to be judged. Normally, when we have a lot of projects, we'll actually just read you certain things, but we have enough to fit in a program easily today. So we're not going to play any pick this versus that game. We get to see everything today. I do want to stress to everyone, and I don't know if this is affecting Kevin, and I'm going to give him a second to talk about it. The supply chain issue with printers is a real thing. I know you guys don't realize it when you're not in the industry, but we are out. The earliest predictions is that paper will not go back to being normal until 2023. The costs have gone up about 20% at this point. And, when a cost goes up, it rarely ever goes down again.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does, there's usually a government forcing them. And I don't see paper being forced to get cheaper. So understand, if you see a bump in the prices of comic books, there's a reason, and there's a good one. The costs of creating them have all gone up across the board. Kevin, have you been affected by this shortage?
Definitely been affected by getting books created, and yes, there is a cost increase on everything I've done in the last 6 months. What we did on this campaign is I've decided when I really thought we would normally deliver, and I think I added like 5 months to our delivery promise to try to create a window with the hopes that we can be 5 months early, but with the reality of what's going on with ports and paper shortages, we just kind of said, oh, I think maybe we could get this book out in October. So let's do March of next year.
And I will say this, guys, don't take it out on the printer if you're a creator. I've heard a lot of bad stories about that. You know how it feels when you're behind the 8 ball and you're struggling to get something done. They're literally doing the same thing and they can't get the product. That's the problem. They can't literally get the paper. It's not that they're choosing not to. Everything has been greatly affected because of everything that's gone on. We're going to just leave it at that. It's just that simple. You have to understand, we had a shortage of baby food. Baby food, something that should have never had a shortage in America. This is just our new reality for a little bit longer. We will get to the other side. Be patient, be kind, because trust me, people will remember how you act right now after this passes. Steph said, had to pivot printers on our last book. Still took a hit. Yeah, it's real. Didn't want to raise the price. You have to, though, as a creator, if you want to keep creating sometimes. I had to raise postage $1. I didn't like it. I hated it, but it's the reality. Everything got more expensive. And tape is more expensive. And here's something no one talks about. We don't have sales anymore like we did before the whole pandemic became a thing. Like, you go to the grocery store, eggs aren't on sale anymore. Suddenly everyone's just struggling. So be patient, be kind. That's all I ask. We're all going through this together. Let's continue to help each other rise up and get past this. That's it. So here's all the books that are comics funding. So here's how it's going to go. We're going to start with Steph. This is so exciting that Steph is here. So Steph has a program, and this stinks. I don't know why we're actually having this problem right now. Twitter is getting rid of the preview pictures, as is Facebook. And I don't know what's going on. It's across all of social media. And I tried 3 times to get this to work. What we're going to do, because Steph's such a cool dude, and so is Wendy, we're going to show the actual Kickstarter thing. So here it is, Luna Tales. There was no video. So we're going to look it over. We're going to look at the picture. And by the way, I want to congratulate not just Steph, but Kevin Joseph, both for having projects we love, and Wendy, of course, who's not with us right now, but the creator behind this. This is Luna Tales. And so what we do is we look at the top here. Wendy Steen Shanner. I always feel like I'm saying her last name wrong. Shanner. It's one of those dyslexic things. There we go. Giving the shout out. So we look at the title, Luna Tales. And then we look at the pitch line, Luna Tales, Adventures of Baby Dragon with Dreams of Being a Hero. So what I ask you now is, does the title make you, and it is kid-friendly, no boobs, Jeff Wilson said, which is wow.
I will. I'm a fan of boobs, but I'm okay with books without them. The project image is adorable. So I'm sold on the project image alone, and the log line certainly helped as well.
So Luna Tales. Even though it's a very short title, I actually find it interesting. Like it just rings right. What about you, Kevin?
I'm cool with it, and the font is gorgeous. No, I'm all in it. All ages. You know, my kid just turned 13, but we can still sneak some all ages books in. She's not too cool for it yet.
And this is Adventures of a Baby Dragon with Dreams of Being a Hero. That is cool. That's a perfect pitch line right there.
Yeah.
So, and the image, like you had said, this is just a beautiful image. Like the coloring is right. You got the projects we love. They only have a few hours, by the way, guys. If you need to jump off and go back this, by all means, do it while it's live, because you don't have a lot of time left. I'm going to make sure I get on this today. I'm glad I didn't miss it, and just it looks cute and fun. I'm going to get something for Jax. I think
we just need more all ages books, because children who read comics grow up to be adults who read comics, and I'm saying that as selfishly as humanly possible. And the kid at 5 years old who loves this book 10 years from now is going to be ready to buy Tart. So, like, yeah, we need books like this.
Yeah, not just that. And I don't know if, Kevin, you know this. I don't know if you saw me post this on social media. Jax has actually gone from ripping up comic books to me making him a comic book, to him falling in love with books. He loves books now, to reading, learning to read. And he's autistic, so this has been a journey. But he's learning to read books now. And he actually came up with a story for Cat Dad 3. He's going to be listed as not just a co-creator, but a co-writer, as we're going to talk about his character actually having superpowers and what does that mean. And we've been going back and forth and talking about it. So I absolutely amen for everything you're saying. I think we need more of this every day. I think it's beautiful. I give Wendy and everyone involved, including Steph, so much credit, because these are harder to fund. These are not easy. These are always a little harder. And Steph even said it was a stretch for me. And then Wendy's here. Hello, Wendy.
Oh, Wendy, it looks gorgeous. I'm sorry that I'm just seeing it for the first time, but it looks amazing.
Well, that's what these programs are all about. That's what us doing these programs. That's why I said it was so important you did your programs, because that's so important. Yes, get kids in comics. Exactly. We don't do that. We don't think about the next market. We're always thinking about getting adults and how we can chase the people who've already built their fandom. No, get a book in their hand when they're a kid. Like you said, Cat Dad and Supermom will probably open the door for my creations later when they become teenagers and become adults. And I have lines for everybody. So I am mindful of that. And I teach. We just had a panel over the weekend. We were talking to the next generation of creators at that panel. I knew it. Like, I could feel it. These were kids asking great questions about, like, kids have a great imagination and mind. If you fill it, like, yes, you can make comics, they will make comics. And Steph says reading, and I use comics in the classroom with special needs. Yes, I gave Cat Dad to my son's special needs class. They loved it. Because of all the, current situation, they can't let anyone on school grounds. But I've already been asked if once it all clears up, if I'd be willing to come in and do like a reading in an auditorium. So, like, that is so cool. And Steph says, congrats. Thank you.
That is neat. That is neat. I have one kid's book that I have at shows, and invariably there'll be somebody with a child in a stroller, and if you sell them that book, and then 3 hours later you see that kid hugging the comic, and you're like, oh my God, that is why you do this. To see somebody loving your book, and a child is not pretending to love your book. A child is loving your book, and that is it's joyous, and I love it. And I'm really, really into this book. So I'm on as soon as this is over. I'm on to this one.
And isn't it cool when they come over and start talking to you?
Yeah,
they just start talking to you about it, and they're so excited and genuine about it. Like, when adults talk to you about your comic, a lot of times they kind of give you suggestions. As a writer, you just smile and you're like, that's not where the story's going at all. But little kids, they talk just about the story. They talk about the characters and how much they enjoyed it. I love when the kids come to talk to me about comic books. It is amazing. Thank you, Wendy, for putting out another amazing book. And this picture right here, this won me over. When I saw this picture on the screen, I was like, oh, yeah, that's it right there. That's the winner. Hero in training. This is awesome. I wish we could spend more time talking about it. We do have to get on to our next one. Thank you so much for helping build literacy in children. Wendy and Steph, you guys are amazing. Let's see. Boobs books are easier to fund. Yeah, I know everyone wants to hold them. Put it on. That's awesome. Get more kiddos involved in comics. Absolutely every day, and they do find their favorite books, and it's awesome. You'll see it. You'll see it right away. Kids just are drawn if you let them into this world. And I say it all the time. The biggest problem we have in school is they have all these cool images, all these coloring books, all this stuff in kindergarten, and in first grade, suddenly we go to all these words. And it's intimidating, it's scary, and it's not as much fun. I pretended to love all Rob does. Thank you for pretending, Steph. Reminds me of the bedroom.
You know, we fake it till we make it. You can fake it while we make it. That's just fine.
Yeah, kiddos glow when they talk about them. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing and talking about and supporting. Absolutely. Keep creating, man. This is awesome. We do have to move on to our next project of today. And I'm actually going to go over here. And this is something different. And I couldn't get the preview to work the way it's supposed to on the Twitter. So we're going to go to the page itself to show love. This is just today's, and we have the video for this one because this one does have a video. So
I'm glad you brought that up. I was sending out URLs yesterday, and I didn't know why the images weren't on it. I thought I had done something wrong. It's just a glitch or the new normal, possibly.
I think it might be the new normal because it's working on some. What I did notice, and this is I'm going to give you guys a tip that no one's talked about yet. If you use the URL with the share code at the back of it, it's working now. But if you use just the URL, the regular URL where there's nothing attached to it and it's just your pure URL, it's not working. But if you have all that weird jumble at the end of your URL, for some reason it's popping up 50% of the time. So there's something going on. Someone wrote a code that they're all using right now. And this is going to be Titan, the Ultraman #4. So that title, is that title something that would make you go, I want more?
I'm good with the project image. Titan doesn't say anything to me yet, but I would definitely go to the log line to find out.
Let's check out that log line, the elevator pitch, if you would.
Yeah.
A mysterious serial killer is murdering heroes in Sky City, and Titan is trying to stop them.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought I'm sold on superhero murder mystery. Watchmen, the Red 10, those always bring me in. So I'm in on the somebody's killing superheroes because that always works for me personally.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the video that for some reason didn't upload. So we have one more second. What was it about the image that you think drew you in so fast?
I really like from what I can see of it, and my old eyes are just the anatomy and the dynamic energy of it. It's just drawn very well.
No, it really, really is. And you guys can see I'm quickly saving the video because for some reason it didn't upload right. I hate taking the videos. Sometimes they don't download right. I don't know why that is. So I do apologize, guys. But we got it now. So we should be playing the video in just a second. Before we do that, I do want to say the image is so important visually because that's your first. They don't read the title. No one reads the title. We have become a visual society. So the image that you put out determines how they react. But here's the video. Remember, this is BACKERPAUSE. So if you feel like the video has gotten you to pause and you're no longer interested in or would rather read the campaign, just put up your hand and we'll come back out and discuss why you experienced BACKERPAUSE. So what'd you think?
You put music like that on, I'm gonna watch your video to the end. I liked it. The designs on the superheroes are very inventive and all looked good to me. So it looks like a fun superhero universe.
Absolutely does. This was one of those things that I saw and I was like, ooh, I'm happy to show that on the show because I don't really choose. Anyone gets to say anything or share anything as long as you're a cool, respectable person in the community. We'll cover it. But like when you see something like this, you're like, wow, this is where it stops being indie and starts becoming creator owned, you know?
Yeah, and children's book and superhero books are actually hard on Kickstarter. So you actually need to be a level above to get a book like that noticed. And the designs on that, I mean, that obviously their art team is working on these characters because these designs could be in a Marvel or a DC book easily.
Absolutely. This looks like something if you found at a comic book shop, you might be a little surprised it's not got a Marvel or a DC logo on it. So this is definitely one to look. Tony, you did well bringing it together, man. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk quickly about Tart. So I just wanted to, we've talked a lot about it, but I did want to just get into a little bit of the backstory of how, because you had mentioned it, like how did you get solicited or picked up? I don't know if it's solicited or picked up by Scout. So whatever word works.
You know, we started dating and decided to go steady. I don't know. I have a high school buddy who went to the University of Central Florida, messaged me one day and said, "You're doing this crazy comic book thing. My friend James is doing this crazy comic book thing. He's got this book called Solar Flare." And I was like, "I've heard of Solar Flare." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he goes, let me introduce you. And so James Hake and I, started talking long before he was with Scout. And, Solar Flare is just a cool book. If you haven't heard of it, it could happen. A solar flare comes from the sun and knocks out all of the electricity on Earth. And basically everyone has to figure out how to survive. And the poor dad in the story's daughter is in Tennessee. And so he's got to figure out how to get from Florida to Tennessee to find his daughter. So I was like, well, this guy is making a cool comic. He's a friend of a friend. And then we just kind of vibed and he got in with Scout and, lo and behold, and I don't know how any of this happened, he ends up being the president of the company. And he promised he was going to get Tart in front of the people who could say yes or no. And eventually they said yes. And Ludo and I couldn't be happier. It's just it's nice to have a home in comic shops and be able to email or call a comic shop and say, "Hi, I'm Kevin Joseph." They have never heard of me. I have a comic called Tart. They've rarely heard of it. It's by Scout Comics. Oh, yeah. Okay. Tell me about this. All of a sudden I'm able to tell them who I am and what the book is because they know that Scout does quality comics.
Absolutely. And when we get back, I do want to talk about, because it's the first time I've ever seen anyone acknowledge it, I think beyond me, is the fact that there's nudity in the book. And I think that's interesting. And I want to talk about what you said about this when we get back. But for now, we're going to head back over to our BACKERPAUSE list of current campaigns. And I'm sure you've heard of Stan Yak by now, being in the circles. And he's got a book with a few other of his creators. So we're going to dive into Hunger, We're Starving. So let's take a look. Again, we're going to go straight to Kickstarter today, just because of the issue with the images and all that. So we're looking. I don't want to feel like we're not giving everyone the same amount of love. So this is the...
Well, if it's Stan Yak, there's going to be outstanding visuals.
Oh, absolutely. And that hunger thing reminds me of a video game. Like I just want to press play and play the game, So it's Hunger number 2. Not a lot with the title. After a successful campaign for issue number 1, 203% funded, we're back. And Alora's peaceful life is about to change. I'll be honest. I'll say it. I think that's a huge miss because it didn't invite any new readers. That entire line doesn't invite anyone new. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know who, because I haven't seen number 1. I don't know about her peaceful life or how it was changed. So yeah, I think they could could play with that a little bit to try to get me more intrigued by the story. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I know Stan, so that makes it a winner. But if I didn't know Stan, I mean, the image, I think we both agree, this image, it just works. The image absolutely works. And look at that art. I mean, like, you would back this book on art, wouldn't you? But again,
Yeah.
we're not getting the story. So I do want to see if I can find an actual story. So I don't know this one. Actually, we didn't do number 1 for full disclosure. Sometimes I can actually give you. Okay, here we go. So our main character, Alora, is a hydro officer tasked with collecting the community's most valuable resource, water, and distributing it to the vulnerable members of Hope Springs. One day after doing a hydro run, Alora's mother becomes ill. Desperate for more water, she rushes to the springs only to discover that her peaceful days within Hope Springs will never be the same. And this is the synopsis right here. As the hunger consumes her mother, Alora is trapped in a confrontation with Cade at the hydro distribution port. See, I would have put like a fight for water and survival as one life lays in the balance. Like, to me, that would have been a good pitch for right up top.
And to be honest, this is actually a true possibility of the future. Water shortages and people holding it. I use the fact that this is kind of speculative fiction. Like, I don't know if you saw New Rat City, Honor Vincent's book about when Manhattan is drowned by global warming and what would happen after the fact. She did a really good job of using the fact that this is a possible future to almost scare you into reading the book. I would use that fact that, ownership of water is going to be an extraordinarily important thing, hopefully hundreds of years from now, but it could be sooner.
Yeah, DMZ covered that, the HBO series show. That was really good. And the way they handled water, again, you don't realize it. You think water is easy to come by. Sure, water on this planet is, but you can't drink ocean water. You can't just drink any water. Healthy, real good water, that is a thing. So this could have a very interesting story to it. So we're going to go ahead and watch the video. Let's see if the video fills in some of the gaps that we're suffering through right now. Yeah, nothing.
I would rather the creator speak, even if they look as dumb as I do. It's something you just gotta get over yourself and realize you're gonna look dumb because you aren't, you're a writer or you're an artist, you're not a video maker. But I think that one thing that a creator should do is put their face to the project and say, I made this, join me on this journey. That's not really me talking. That's a lot of people who know more about Kickstarter talking. I mean, they've got Stan's art. That is definitely a selling point. So it's not a problem to use his art, and they should do that. But I think they probably ran out of time to do a real video, because that still says coming soon. It doesn't say we're launched.
And also, I just had everything you said spot on, but I just want to add on to it. Never look at leaning on your strongest part as the way to win. Understand that's your strongest part. Let's add to that and become even stronger. Good title. And that's why we expanded this year for BackerPauSE, because this looks like a phenomenal project, but I'm still not 100% sure I understand what happened in the first issue. And that kind of gets me, because now was the first issue a throwaway issue? Was it just her origin, or do I need the first issue to understand the second issue?
And it as trying to serialize a comic on Kickstarter, it's a difficult, you're balancing on a line between telling people what has happened and not spoiling something that's happened early. It's tough. Like this one, Submerged, I'm sorry to go back to it, but that's exactly what's on my mind. The story is, years old. So I do let out that there are mermaids in this lagoon. But for the first 3 Kickstarters, that was a secret that we wanted our readers to, find in the story. But at this point, it feels like we have to put them on there because they're even in the background on the cover. So we kind of spoiled that, on the page and within the thing. But we do. It is tough. I understand where they might have thought, oh, we don't want to talk about that because it's spoiling. And not knowing the book, I don't know if there's a huge twist at the end that they're afraid to give up. One thing Charlie Stickney does on his White Ash Kickstarters, it's very important, in my opinion, just like Tart, White Ash, you should come in knowing nothing. Because there is a moment in issue 2 of the Scout Comics White Ash that just changes everything, and it's beautiful. So on his Kickstarter pages, he has a whole no spoiler, and then he goes, okay, if you know what happened, here's where we talk about spoilers. So he kind of makes it, he protects people who don't want to learn, but he acknowledges that, the twist has been out for a while. And I think that's something that we could all learn from, and that page could learn from that.
Yeah, it's a subtle dance. The entire point of my first Barber Unleashed #1 was you not knowing what happened, and launching the second issue, which is Aftermath, was a complete spoiler for the whole first book. But if I'm a good enough writer, I should be able to, that second book should make them, wait a minute, I want to know the whole story of now. Let me go back and read the first book. So that's how I addressed it. But you're right. Sometimes your spoils, you want to hold on to them as long as you can until it's like, okay, yes, they're mermaids. They're
the bad guys. It's mermaids. Our mermaid doesn't wear a top. Like we're right on the nudity. When I wrote the script, I really assumed that the female. I wanted to make sure that there was a female as part of it. I can't remember if we had decided that it'd be 1 female and 2 males, or Ludo just drew it. But I wanted to make sure that there was a female fighting Tart. It just felt more right to have a female mermaid and Tart go at it than all 3 guys. But Ludo sent the thing and she wasn't wearing a top, and I hadn't said anything about it. And I was like, well, yeah, really, if we're talking about mermaids really evolving, why would they put on a swimsuit? So it just became a thing where it was like, it would be silly in our world to ask Ludo to put seashells over her nipples. So yeah, we have nudity. It works for our story. We're very comfortable with it, but I wanted people to know what they're getting. That's why I put it on the Kickstarter page. I don't want somebody to get this book for a 9-year-old if their 9-year-old isn't ready for that. I think kids self-select away from things they're not ready from pretty quickly, which is great. If they're ready for it, I think they read it. And if they're not ready for it, they don't. But I also don't want to put that choice. I want to give parents that choice when they see a book.
And that's awesome. I will say this. I think it was The Little Mermaid from Disney that first put seashells on there. Most original the most shown, I can't say the word. Most of the shown mermaids in earlier press never had anything on there. It would, like you said, it wouldn't make sense to ever have that. Like, that's just not how they were depicted. They were redheaded and beautiful, and they made your ship crash in. Yeah. That's what it was. And it was I think the original thing comes from men trying to get too quickly to the shore to get off the boat to actually get with someone. So they made it, be careful, they're mermaids. If I remember reading one of the takes on the history of it, but still, it's awesome. I like that you address it. And I like that you say, hey, no, this isn't something I'm just doing. This is the story. This is what makes sense in the story. If this were Disney, sure, I'd get some Ariel seashells that magically fit. No one talks about why a woman who's so into the fish and all that is suddenly wearing someone else's, basically
exoskeleton.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to talk about that, but we're going to respect everyone in the ocean.
Exactly.
All right, so we're going to switch back and we're going to talk about our next BACKERPAUSE campaign, which we did, of course, we did Tart today. This one I don't got a lot for, but we got a real preview today. So there's no video. So we're just going to go off this like it's a Twitter thing. So here we go. We got an image, and the first thing I see is too much font, and I'm told all the time. Now, I'm a big I'm a wordy person, so this doesn't intimidate me, but I can tell you that most people I have been told and seen, and like you, I listen to other creators who talk about Kickstarters and all that, algorithms, I study all that. This would be bad, because apparently when you have a lot of writing in it, you're deliberately suppressed. They go out of their way to suppress you because most of the bots can't read it. And they assume that you're saying trying to get away with saying something that's not in there. Does that intimidate you, seeing that much words?
I would rather see it without, just because I'd rather see the full image. And basically, most Kickstarter pages you try to just use, and they did a great job of this with Stanyak's art on the last one. Pull the dialogue off so you can see the full image and fall in love with the art, and then lower down on the page kind of show how the book reads. So I wouldn't use this image as my project image. I might read it to find out if it sings to me, but I wouldn't use it myself.
I will say that they follow up with very strong stuff. With the Lucky Ones as a title, a World War II combat engineers comic. That's kind of cool. That gets me. I'm a Band of Brothers fan. That did it for me. And then the follow-up here is our new comic book is a World War II story. It's reminiscent of the film The Dirty Dozen, which, by the way, is a favorite of mine, with an LGBTQ twist. This is the first of 8 issues. To me, that's perfect wordplay.
Yeah, no, it's well written, and now reading that I would want, but with my eyes I can't tell what it says. I'd want to read the narration to see.
Yeah, let me see if I can make it just a little bigger for you while we're here. Yeah, it's about as big as we're gonna get. But yeah, just for the next one, because I know the next one's the same way. But yeah, I mean, this is something I'm gonna jump on. This is something that's interesting, and I know a lot of people get a little iffy about things that why does it have to talk about the first issue of 8 and all that, and the number of it? Should that be in the title? I think it's honest. You can put ongoing series, but this isn't going to be an ongoing series. To her, this is a limited series, 8 issues. So that tells you right away, like, if you get into this, you can follow it. Don't let that. I know people are, well, I'm issue 2. Should I tell that I have issue number 1? I've never seen a Kickstarter that goes, oh, you can't have the first issue. I'm sure it's happened, but I'm sure it doesn't happen that often.
As I would advise everybody to make it as apparent as possible if you're doing a second, a third, a fourth, or however many, that you can get the entire series. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get 100 messages that first day. Can I get and just it's better off. I would definitely, and if it's your first issue, you really put up issue number 1, because people are willing to try an issue 1, find if they like it. And if it's for them, come back. And if it's not for them, don't. But no, put issue number 1. And hey, you know what? Trick of the trade, do an issue number 2. I don't know what Roach Mall is on, but Roach Mall 1 and 2, because there's going to be somebody that says, I missed number 1. Oh, and I can get it, a first printing. And you've got a new reader.
There you go. Roach Mill is next.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, my eyes aren't even close. Roach Mill. Sorry.
Well, I've called it Roach Hill a couple times. Roach Mill. That's why I stopped myself from saying hill, because when I read it quick, it actually looks almost like an H to me. My dyslexia. This is a collected edition. It's Roach Mill Volume 1, the first 6 issues of Roachville, Roach Mill, with 6 variants plus a collection. To me, that means nothing. I'm going to say it. This would be something I don't understand. And that might make me click, but I know a lot of people might not click when they don't understand what's going on here.
As a creator doing a hardcover collection, he's going to have me clicking out of solidarity. But yeah, I'd love to know because I haven't run across this. I'd love to know what the series is a little better.
So we're going to take a quick jump in there, give some love. And it's Need an extermination to handle those rats? Pesky roaches ruining your sleep? Maybe grandma's getting on your nerve? Call Roach Mill Pest Control and we'll get the job done. The year is 2998 and the pest control industry has changed. See, to me, that's an amazing story pitch right there. That should have been worked into the title. Forget the collection. Tell me that. I can get rid of grandma?
Once you add grandma in there, it tells you the personality the book is going to have, and that is a personality I want to get to know better. Now, I don't want to get rid of grandmas personally. I wish I could have mine back, but a world where it's an option is pretty funny to me.
Yeah, and I think there's some interest here. This is one of those moments where you see a miss and you feel bad because you're like, oh man, you're sitting on it. You're sitting on something great. It's just a wordplay in the beginning. It's that little bit, because you'd be surprised. And I think me and Kevin have talked about this, and I'm sure that he's done it at times. If your campaign's not working, or even if it is working, but you're hitting that middle part, you change the image, you change the title, you change your pitch, and you see what works. And I do that often. If I notice we're in a dead slump, I'm like, all right, this ain't working. Change it all. Let's see what happens, or go backwards to what was working, and then you do that. They're so close to their goal. Let's make sure that we help. Give them even $1 matters. $1 can make dreams come true. Support creators, because that keeps the industry, the comic book industry interesting. When we have this is definitely an out of the box idea. I've never seen a half roach, half human dude being an exterminator. So definitely interesting. Show it some love. All right, this is new. Wes Hartman gives us the Savage Sasquatch. One small step for man, one big foot for mankind. That's our image. We're going to check out the video on this because we're running a little late, but I do want to give this some love. So we're going to look at the video.
Yeah, it's a great book. I can tell you that before we even start the video.
Yeah, so we're going to show, because I saw the video and the video is badass. So I want to get it into the show today.
Hey, I'm Wes Hartman, creator of Savage Sasquatch. If this is your first time learning about this project, welcome to the incredible adventures of Bigfoot in space. This Kickstarter campaign is for the complete collection of Savage Sasquatch issues 1 through 6. And for the first time, I'll be adding the origin story of Sasquatch to the book. This story was not included in the original series and has been drawn by superstar comic book artist Tyler Kirkham. This book will contain 150 story pages, and if you help me unlock some stretch goals, I have a bundle of more story pages to include in the book. But I also want to mention that there's some great merchandise still available, including the very limited hard enamel pin, as well as the brand new original custom skateboard, metal bookmarks, and more. And if you happen to miss a particular variant cover from one of your favorite artists, be sure to add it on before you finalize your pledge. Savage Sasquatch has been a passion project of mine for over 10 years, and with your help, I can bring this book to life. This is my 7th Kickstarter. All of my previous campaigns were successfully funded thanks to backers like you. And if this campaign is successful, I will fulfill this campaign just like I did all the previous ones. Thank you for watching my video and checking out my campaign. Please share the campaign link with your friends, your family, and across all your social media to help bring this to life. I cannot wait to bring you more Savage Sasquatch.
All right, rock on. Just so we get the title in there, Kevin, just give me a minute. I'm going to get everyone on the show, and then I'm going to let you close this out because I want to hear more about Tart on our way out. This has got a great title right there. It tells you everything it has, and here's its pitch line. Bigfoot is lost in space, enjoys humorous and sensational adventures of aliens, betrayals, spaceships, empires in arm wrestling. That is a great pitch line. That is great wordplay. We didn't get to really cover, but we're going to give some love too. And they didn't have videos anyway, so there wasn't a lot to judge in that way. We're going to talk about Vera Sam, who has an alien in his toilet. It's an all-ages comedy, which, of course, we're excited to hear. To evade swarming ants, he becomes a samurai, and he is prepared for a group of wild squirrels. Hilarious adventures of Duty from Uranus.
All right, they got me with Duty from Uranus. I'm sorry, I am that immature.
That immature, right? So am I. Don't feel bad. You're in good company. I almost giggle every time I read that. So this is Scorpion Volume Number 1, Issues 1 to 3. No video. We're going to watch it in a later backer pause. This is Volume 1 of the Urban Fantasy comic about 12 relics that are empowered by the Zodiac. And finally, this week we didn't get enough time to talk to, but I want to give some love to Dale and his Tap Studs. And we're going to take a look at it. Ooh, it's going to Twitter instead of Kickstarter. The one thing that's actually working today with Twitter. So here we go. And I actually put that image in there. Oh, it's not redirecting to the Kickstarter. It's being very weird about it. Here we go. So this is Tap Studs project we love. A lot of projects we love today. The premier publisher of wordless, gay, character-based, sex-positive graphic novels is back in 2022. Hashtag smart, hashtag wholesome, hashtag almost sexy. It is the latest project from Sticky Graphic Novels. And we're going to talk more about this in a future episode. But for now, we want to talk about Tart on our way out. Give them that last pitch. Tell them why they should back Tart.
You know what? I hope you will back one of these projects today. I am selfish, and if it is Tart, I will be extraordinarily happy. Tart is a time-traveling demon hunter. It's a series about a chess match between the forces of hell and a group of ladies who can travel time and stop them from destroying the history of our world. We get to play around in all of history's mysteries. We get to kind of, if there's anything we don't know why it happened, Tart or one of her friends might just show up there, and we might find the not the superstitious, but the hellish reason that one of life's mysteries happened. And it's just fun, good adventure. I think we try to put soul and emotion and heart into it as best we can. And we are extraordinarily proud of it. And people really do tend to, once they give it a try, stick with us. So I think that if you try it, you'll love it. And you know what? If it's tough right now, you want to do our digital bundle, you can get all 14 issues we've done, plus 2 trade paperbacks that Ludo has done for Hell Strawberry for $15. That's over 400 pages of comics for $15 that I think you'll love enough to come back and get the hardcover later. I'm not offering it that price because I'm nice. I'm kind of like the guy giving you the one pill for free to try to get you hooked.
I appreciate you spending time with me today. Such great insight. I love the fact you do a show with crowdfunding and encourage that. We're at our 1 hour mark. Remember, you can go to BACKERPAUSE.com to see everything that you saw today. You could also go to, you have a website?
Yeah, we have a website that is pretty terrible. So I would say go to Kickstarter and look up Tart Submerged, because Catch-All Comics exists. The Catch-All Comics website exists.
Fair enough. And of course, we're on the Twitter now. If you want to be covered by us, find us on the Facebook. It's at comicsnewswire.com. I think it actually comes up with the .com, but just Comics Newswire Facebook group, drop it in there. And that's why we had some of these people there. Follow Kevin on all the socials. Thank you to the TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook audience. Thank you to Steph and Wendy for making it interesting in the beginning of the show. We're out of here. So we'll see you guys next month for a in-depth backer pause, and look for the coming Kickstarters that are coming out soon at BackerPause.com, including The Expanse, which is going to be launched from Continuum Comics this month. And when we launch it, we'll do a special backer pause. But for now, we're going to back some books. We'll see you next week.